you're like a lot of people, then your New Year's resolution may be to try to lose those 5, 10, 20, whatever pounds that we've gained in the past year or so. A lot of people come to me and they ask me for my advice. They say, what's the diet that I should follow so that I can finally lose weight and keep it off? Actually, a lot of diets can help you lose weight. Everything from intermittent fasting to keto to Mediterranean. So the most important thing is not just what diet you should follow, but actually, is your body ready to let go of the weight? There are 5 main categories of hormones that you need to be in a good place in order for your metabolism to work well. Before we jump into what those 5 categories of hormones are, let's just remember that hormones are messengers in the body. They're chemical messengers that go from one place, they bind a receptor, and that leads to an action in a cell and is very important for really just about every function in the body. The first category, and one that many people think about when they think about weight, is the thyroid. And if you have a sluggish thyroid, that can slow the metabolism and make it more challenging to lose weight. You can have a sluggish thyroid for many reasons, the most common in our country being that of autoimmune hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's. You should especially think about the thyroid if, in addition to having trouble losing weight, you're noticing you're feeling more fatigued, you have dry skin or hair issues or hair loss, constipation, depression. I tell my patients, like, everything is slowed down, not just the metabolism, just things sluggish. The second major category is that of your sex hormones. And this is particularly true for women in the perimenopause, menopause range, oftentimes in the 40s to 50s. And our estrogen and progesterone balance, plus that supporting cast of testosterone, pregnenolone, DHEA, all of these hormones need to be in balance in order for us to be able to lose weight. You can test your sex hormones, but for women, doing those estrogen and progesterone levels can be pretty tricky because our hormones fluctuate throughout the month and even throughout the day. So there are some more specialized functional medicine tests that can be done to see where you are and help you put those hormones back into balance. The third category is that of the adrenal glands. These little glands that sit on top of our kidneys, they're responsible for producing several hormones, but the one we're thinking about here today is cortisol. Cortisol is our major stress hormone. We can see problems losing weight if it is too high and too low. And one of the most common ways that we'll see this manifest is more of the central weight gain, that lovely belly fat that we all love. If you're stressed out, you can pretty much guarantee that there's going to be some disturbances in cortisol. If you have acute stress, then your cortisol should bump up, it should help you respond, and then it should come back down to baseline. When we're living in a state of chronic stress, we can start to go into overdrive and eventually become depleted. You can do a cortisol blood test. Usually that's done around 8 o'clock in the morning. But what I like to recommend is to do salivary profiles throughout the day. That'll give you a really good indication as to whether your cortisol is following the normal circadian rhythm of peaking in the morning and then coming down and being low at night. The fourth major category is that of our insulin resistance hormones. Even if you don't have diabetes, even if you don't have pre-diabetes, you can still have insulin resistance. It is a spectrum from normal all the way to diabetes. When you have insulin resistance, the cells are resistant to the message of insulin. Insulin's knocking on the door saying, hey, I've got some glucose. I want to store it in those muscle and liver cells so that you're going to have it in the future for energy, but it can't get the glucose in there, and instead that blood sugar gets stored as fat, not where we want it. Insulin resistance can be measured again through different blood tests like a hemoglobin A1C, a fasting insulin, fasting glucose, adiponectin levels. All of these can be measures that help say, where are you with your blood sugar, and do you have that beginning phase of insulin resistance? Finally, we have our hunger satiety hormones. So these are leptin and ghrelin, and they're like the yin-yang of hunger and satiety. Leptin is your main satiety hormone, And by making you feel full, it helps you get the signal it's time to stop eating, and that makes it easier to maintain weight. Now, when leptin levels are low, it's a problem, but also when leptin levels are high, it can be a problem because it can mean that you have leptin resistance. You can measure these hunger and satiety hormones as well, but usually they'll follow along with insulin resistance, so I don't measure them unless I'm really concerned about something like leptin resistance. So those are the 5 hormone systems that you should make sure are in balance if you're trying to lose weight and finding yourself stuck, or if you've been on that up and down roller coaster of gaining and losing weight and then hitting a plateau. Bring that list to your doctor, see if you can get evaluated for them. If you want to know more about these hormones, I'm going to be diving more deeply into them, so you can see these future videos on my channel. Please subscribe. Thanks.